It's time for Q3 2017 financial results, so pop some popcorn, sit back, and relax as I bring you all the details. This is Tesla Tidbits episode number 318 for November 2nd, 2017. These 4 times a year are my favorite things about doing this show. 1, because it's super easy to report on, and 2, because it's a little peek into the future nearly every time. Let's get to it. Elon opened the call saying the call was being held at Giga Factory 1, quote, because that's where the production constraint is for Model 3, the most important thing for the company. And I always move my desk to wherever. I don't really have a desk, actually. I move myself to wherever the biggest problem is in Tesla. I really believe that one should lead from the front lines, and that's why I'm here, end quote. He went into some milestones real quick, letting us know that the company has surpassed 250,000 total deliveries of all vehicles worldwide. We had record Model S and Model X orders and deliveries last quarter, and that in the last 5 years, the Tesla fleet has grown by 100 times, and Elon expects within 5 years for it to have grown another order of magnitude, or maybe even closer to 2. But let's get to what everybody wants to hear about, as usual, and that's Model 3. Elon started by reiterating yet again that he sees no fundamental problems with the supply chain or production processes. However, the goal of 5,000 Model 3s per week has been pushed back to late Q1 2018 due to the production ramp delays. He would only state that by the end of 2017, production would be well into the thousands per week, but would not quantify exactly how many thousands, because he said it's too difficult to do with any accuracy at this point. Elon believes that many of the processes as they exist will need little to no capital expenditure to reach the final goal of 10,000 cars produced per week after getting initially up to speed at the 5,000 per week rate. The answer to the million-dollar question on what's causing the production delays is the battery module assembly. This process has 4 zones, which 3 and 4 are running well, while 1 and 2 are not, and 2 in particular is suffering. Elon gave us a very candid diagnosis of the issue. It stemmed from a subcontractor dropping the ball, and Tesla did not realize the degree to which the ball was dropped until recently. Software had to be rewritten from scratch due to the issue. Elon said that 20 to 30 something or others of software had to be rewritten in about 4 weeks. Unfortunately, I couldn't make out the word he said there. It kind of sounded like 20 to 30 manuals, but that doesn't quite make sense. Regardless, he said Tesla now has a detailed understanding of how to resolve the issue and have redesigned this process to be 3 times more effective. Currently, there's 3 lines of module production, which are essentially identical. Line 4 will be added, and it will be as good as the other 3 combined due to the new design. Tesla Automation US and Tesla Grohmann are working the issue. And again, in case anyone ever doubts Elon's commitment to Tesla, he noted that he was on one of the lines at 2 a.m. on a Sunday helping to diagnose robot calibration issues. An interesting thing to note here is that third shift Model S and Model X folks were actually brought onto the Model 3 production line to help bring the production ramp up. But then not much later in the call, Elon talked about a downside on all the automation with Model 3, where with S and X, if there's a production issue, you can simply throw more labor hours at it. But with the 3, if the machine isn't working, it just isn't working, and the system isn't designed for a manual bypass. In these early days, adding humans to the mix can be a temporary band-aid, but it sounds as though down the road, the machines better be doing their job. Lastly, on the Model 3 front, Elon made a short mention that there was indeed a concerted effort to differentiate the 3 from the S by including most features by default on the Model S a little while back this year. And then somewhat related to this, found in the newsletter, was confirmation that there will not be an option to lease Model 3, at least initially. So for those of you that were going to go that route, you're either delaying or ponying up the full amount of the cash. So on to a couple of final quick hitters here, starting with Autopilot. In the update letter, Autopilot was called out, saying that owners should expect, quote, a rapid rollout of additional functionality over the next several months, end quote. And then on the call, it was again stated that customers that purchase full self-driving will receive a free upgrade if for some reason the hardware currently in the vehicle is incapable of meeting regulatory requirements for that feature. Moving over to the China discussion, Elon said that there would be no significant capital expenditures in China until 2019. Start of production should be in about 3 years for that factory, although Elon did caveat that, saying, quote, don't set your watch by this, end quote. He expects the factory only to make Model 3 and Model Y. So this seems to be a tacit announcement of the factory in China, if not an explicit one, and few details were provided. Of course, we've seen reporting that Tesla has finalized this and will be the sole operator of the factory rather than operating a partnership with a Chinese company, which is huge, but we still have no hard details or confirmation on this. And finally, Elon did throw in a little blurb and some admonishment regarding the recent releases of employees. He confirmed that 2% of the workforce population was affected by the releases, and then went on a mini tirade at journalists for being disingenuous by not comparing this stat to other companies, where this would have proved to be a small number by comparison. So there you have it from Q3. You can check out all this info for yourself by visiting ir.tesla.com. While you're checking that out, you can also check out the Patreon at patreon.com/Tesla Tidbits. Thanks as always to my super patrons, John Waltower, Drew Schuyler, John Waller, Mark and Sarah Thomas, Ryan Scarborough, Lee Sweet, William Henry Crew III, Dorian Steve Guberman, Bruno Quindici, John Rich, and Joey Boots for supporting the show at the $10 plus level. Be sure to show your love on YouTube, iTunes, and other services across the internet, or use the show referral code ts.la/JON4602 if you're in the market for a new Tesla. That $1,000 is gone now, but you can still pick up free supercharging for the life of the vehicle by using the code. That's it for today. If you have feedback for me, the best way to be heard is to tweet at Tesla Tidbits. I'll see everyone back here again tomorrow. Until then, keep it charged and hit the road.